I was using ChatGPT for the last year or two since it came out, helping me with business, real estate, everything. But recently I quit using ChatGPT and I have 10x my business just by quitting ChatGPT. There are so many more powerful tools out there right now, and I feel like ChatGPT is falling behind. Man, I wish more people knew what was out there.
Yeah, I used ChatGPT for a long time, and as I started having more advanced conversations, it would just start crashing.
Tanner, like many people, I was using ChatGPT for the last year or two since it came out, helping me with business, real estate, everything. But recently I quit using ChatGPT and I have 10x my business just by quitting ChatGPT. There are so many more powerful tools out there right now, and I feel like ChatGPT is falling behind. Man, I wish more people knew what was out there. What have you been using lately that may have helped you or hurt you?
Yeah, I used ChatGPT for a long time, and I feel like I got pretty far along with training my ChatGPT to talk to me the way that I wanted it. And then as I started having more advanced conversations, it would just start crashing. And like I ask it for strategy, for philosophical type conversations, and I was just getting very disappointed. So I started asking, I had Grok, ChatGPT, and Gemini on my phone, and I gave it all the same prompt saying, these are the things I use it for. Give me the objective opinion of which you think would be the best platform for me. And every single one of them said Gemini. Started using Gemini, paid for it for a few months, and it just did not keep up with what I needed to do. So recently I got onto Claude, and that's how we got talking about it, is seeing that you were already on Claude, and my Claude is in toddler stage. Yours is PhD.
So the backstory there, I only started using Claude about 3 weeks ago. I was at an event in Vegas, and this guy, his name's Brian, anyhow, he's the CEO of SamCart. He was saying how, so SamCart got valuated like $300 million, did a Series B raise or something like that, and they were given a whole bunch of capital. He was basically able to recreate their whole business using Claude in a 45-minute layover on flights. And so he's not a engineer or anything like that. He's a marketing guy by trade. He's like, you don't realize how powerful this is. And he was saying how he uses Claude Code, and I was just like, man, it's I've heard people saying, oh, Claude's better for um, not writing. What do you call it? Copywriting. That's the word I'm looking for. And then ChatGPT and all this stuff. But then he started saying this, and he's like, you have to get the paid version. You have to get the mega, paid version thing. And so I started off making little small things. I was like, wow, this is pretty good, pretty good. And I started going down the rabbit hole. And here we are 2.5 weeks later, and I've created something that, I mean, I basically, in a week, I think a lot of tasks that I have my assistant doing, I'll be able to have that do for me. It's started already managing my email yesterday, my calendar for me. Um, I mean, there's things it can't do, but holy cow, what it can do is powerful. It's helped me build software to run my whole business, and I can basically run my business just from a laptop anywhere in the world now, just because every piece of data is right there on one screen. A couple little marks on the side, little menu bars on the side, but it's so powerful. It does so much. It's almost scary what it can do, and that AI's only been out for a few years to this level, and it's grown so much, because I was dumbfounded when ChatGPT came out, and now it's exciting but scary at the same token.
Well, I made the joke about my Claude as like a toddler because I've been using it for about a week or two now, and haven't I have the basic program. But if you were to say that your Claude is like a PhD, where would you put ChatGPT?
That's a hard one. So I do think ChatGPT has a lot of good stuff about it, and there apparently is a ChatGPT 5.3 or something. I haven't played around with it. I was watching a podcast or something on it. They were comparing whatever this ChatGPT, the new model, is either came out or coming out. I think they might have came out around the same time as the one I'm using is Opus 4.6 on Claude. I think they came out the same day, and they're supposed to be rivals. The guy, he was from overseas that I was watching, and he compared ChatGPT. Said it was the German AI, and Claude is the American AI. And he was saying, like, personality wise, he said, like, Claude's all over the place, running around, hair on fire, like an American, and the other one was European or German. He said specifically German, but oh, I know what I can't. Anyhow, it doesn't matter what podcast it was, but and so that is kind of how they compared the contrast. A lot of the stuff is the same. Like they can do a lot of the same stuff, but I just find Claude. I just like the output of Claude better. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the couple weeks that I've been using it, I think that I've gotten a lot more efficiency out of it, and most of the conversations that I have with my AI are like strategic of, I'll take things that are happening in my business and I'm looking to do this thing, and it'll give me advice, and I'd say the most beneficial prompt that I've ever given my AI is when I tell it I'm going to do something or all this stuff, and then I say, show me my blind spots. And there's a lot of things that I just haven't considered, and it can help protect against those things. So I think my favorite prompt, I've sent you that one, was just a general, like, knowing everything you know about me, show me my top 5 blind spots. And it's impressive what it spits out.
So one of the things going into all this that was so eye-opening for me is people that use ChatGPT or use AI. So I'm so used to saying ChatGPT when
Yeah.
I'm referring to AI.
It's like Kleenex or Ziploc.
Yeah, it's the Google of like I'm gonna go Google something,
Yeah.
and you could have been using years ago. You could have been using Yahoo or whatever, but
Bing.
Bing, whatever it is. Uh, but he called it scaffolding, and so you build the infrastructure underneath AI, and you hard code a lot of the stuff, a lot of the decisions, and it's only going to get 10%. And so like that was the iceberg, 10% above.
Hmm.
And 90% of it is structure. You're telling exactly, hey, go look here for this, go look here for that. That's not how a lot of people are using it.
Hmm.
And I don't, this dude that I was watching was like the head of cybersecurity for Amazon or something like that. So he's like nerd level 20. And so I was taking a lot of his concepts, and I don't know the guy. I just found him on YouTube somehow.
Hmm.
But and that's basically, I was like, well, I'm just going to duplicate this. So he has all this stuff. He has a blog post with it. And so I just started going to town building it. But it does take a lot of time. My wife has been very annoyed. Matter of fact, tomorrow's the start of Lent. And so she told
You're
me,
giving up AI for.
well, I don't have to give up AI. I can't have my laptop not in my office
Mhm.
because I've been using it so much. So for the next 40 days, I will be limited. So
So is that why you said that you're going to get your Claude onto your phone now?
so it's yes, but it'll only be my assistant on my phone.
Hmm.
So that is my next thing. I'm actually planning on doing that tomorrow. Is I'm setting it up that Claude runs on WhatsApp,
Hmm.
or my Claude, my AI, my assistant, whatever you want to call it, will run on WhatsApp. So I can send it a text message, send it, it'll run on the back engine, and it'll send me a text back with the answer. Or it could be right before this. I made a joke and I told my assistant, I said, send Tanner an email, tell him to step up his AI game. And so go ahead and read. What did it? I literally gave it a 2-second framework, and it sent you this email.
And not even 30 seconds.
Yeah, it was
It was,
pretty.
Tanner, this email was written, found your contact info, and was sent by my AI assistant in about 3 seconds. Step your game up, Ryan.
Yeah, so I just gave it a 2-second thing, but that way I can just take a note on WhatsApp and send it, and it'll schedule. It can either schedule it, it can put in my calendar. It basically has access to all my Google stuff. So all my stuff lives and breathes on Google. So I have it set up so that if I get a email with an attachment, it automatically uploads it to Google Drive
Hmm.
for next time in case I need it, or if I need to forward it. So yeah, It is crazy what you can do.
Insane. So, I mean, it seems like Claude, the $200 plan, I have the $20 plan. It seems like it's like the modern day Jarvis.
So that's basically this guy that I was doing. He said you're replicating Jarvis. Yes, that's exactly. So you're like Iron Man without the $1 million suit, and it's basically what it is. And I want to be clear: just because you buy the $200 plan will not give unlock all that. But what I was running into on the $20 plan is I was running out of credits so fast.
Mm.
Like I would run out of credits in like 20 minutes. And so I haven't run out of credits since I've up to the $200 plan, and I use it
Okay,
so
so the
much.
price of the plan just changes how many credits you have to ask complex questions.
Correct. So
Mm.
I'm sure yours is still. You might.
I think I maxed it out twice.
I got early access to Opus 4.6 for being on a $200 plan, but you were probably on Opus 4.5.
I think so.
So
But the only way I maxed it out was by creating a document. So I'm submitting an offer, and I had all these revisions, and so I typed out basically the framework of it, and then I gave it to Claude, and I said I want to add in these protections, these things, all this stuff like reps and warranties, stuff like that. I still, I mean, I have to tell it. I will consult my own attorney. You know, I'm not like, this is not legal advice. You're giving me a template that I can then go take. But I was able to do maybe 15 drafts, and they're about 30 pages each. And then I ran out of credits, and all I did was just wait 3 hours, and then I used it again.
so I was running out of credits like every 30 minutes, and I'd have to wait 2 hours.
Mhm.
And so I was getting so annoyed with that. I had to up to the $200 plan, but I literally have run it all day on some days.
But you told me that the 200 is the best 200 you've ever spent.
Hands down, I will say that a million out of a million times. Like what I've been able to create in the last week and a half since going to the $200 plan. I mean, I, it's crazy, and
Mhm.
that's a week and a half into it. What can I do to make it better? Like there's frameworks. Like I changed things yesterday. Was my first day using the assistant, and so I just type in Monday brief or whatever. It's already coded in there that on Mondays I just have to type in MON, and it automatically populates it, and it tells me how many jobs we did last week, where we're at scheduled for this week, where's our AR, where we're falling short. It has a coach in there, basically like tells me the one thing I need to do today to move the business along, and all of that's built in there. And what it's doing is I created so many sub files under there, and there's a file structure, so it's referencing how do I want this, and so when I change it, it references back. So that's what I was talking about, the scaffolding.
Mm.
90% of it's built. It just
How? So how are you say scaffolding? How are you training it and saying I like it done this way when, I ask you X?
And so that was through the Claude code. So I built all the code underneath it. All the scaffolding is what this guy called it. I don't know if that's the correct word.
So did you tell Claude what code to create and then plug it in, or like it's your the way I think of it is it's like you've seen those giant cranes, right? Like they're building the Mutual of Omaha Tower. You know how that giant crane gets so giant is it brings up the pieces and starts building itself up. Like that seems like what Claude is doing. So you're telling it to build the code to program itself.
That's exactly what you're doing.
Hmm.
So I'm sitting there, I'm saying, hey, this is what I want. I give it this framework. This is what I'm looking for. This is the output that I'm going for. So make it a military term. I give it the commander's intent. And I say, hey, go forth and execute. Then it comes back, it's like I did X, Y, and Z. I'm like, I don't like Y, let's change it to this. And so it's just constantly iterating on it, uh, building a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, I built a whole dashboard.
Yeah, talk about the dashboard.
Yeah, so I integrated, we have House Call Pro for our plumbing company, QuickBooks Online, and then our marketing is Go High Level. Well, it's three different dashboards. Oh, and we also use software called Local Falcon for SEO. So I have all this stuff, and it's all segregated. I'll speak to well, let me go to the dashboard. That's what you asked about. So I brought all that in. I didn't know this until this weekend or last weekend, whatever it was. But you can go to QuickBooks and write software. It's called Intuit Developer or something like that. There's a website. And so you can write your own code and submit it to Intuit, and they'll let you use that code for, you can make it public, or for in my case, I just did private. But I wrote code, Claude wrote code for Intuit Developer that it pulls all my data off from QuickBooks. So I don't even have to log into QuickBooks. Instead of running a report on QuickBooks, I can just go into Claude
Ask it a question.
and ask it a question, and it'll output it. It'll distill it down and tell me the key things that I need to look at. So I'm like, hey, looks like we're bleeding off cash flow here. Do an analysis of the last 6 months of our balance sheet or P&L or whatever I want to look at, and tell me where we're going stray.
So I have 4 or 5 different QuickBooks accounts. Can it pull data from all of those individual ones and then consolidate it into the dashboard? Or is it you'd have to have one Claude assistant for each business?
Nope. You need one Claude Assistant. It will pull all of that into one thing. You can say, hey, for my trucking company, I need this. Hey, for property management, I need this. Hey, for real estate, I need this. And it's all running on. So what I'm doing is I'm taking all the data from all these different sources and I'm compiling it into a database. So I'm stealing everything, putting it in one database, and then Claude can just reach out and grab the information. And once I keep using the word scaffolding, but the scaffolding tells it where to go. So, hey, when I ask a question that refers to this, go here. When I ask a question like this, go here. And so I set up a mentor one. I was telling you about this before. So Claude is what I'm interacting with, but I set up ChatGPT. So if there's something, I find ChatGPT really good for like historical stuff, anything kind of in history. History could have been a year ago. Like I'm not talking ancient history, though. I used it a lot for religious context and Bible studies and stuff like that. I find it really good for that. So maybe there's something I need there to go pull. If I want to do a deep dive on something, or if I need a Gemini is good for, because it's owned by Google. YouTube is owned by Google. So you can go and upload. We were talking about Logan Rankin before. Hey, give me the top 100 videos from Logan Rankin. Send it to Gemini. So it's called MCPs. I don't know what it stands for, but I have an MCP to Gemini, and it will give Gemini all that stuff. Gemini will run it all and then send it back to Claude, and Claude will distill it down. And so I'm like, hey, take his videos and tell me what I need to do for my real estate business. Based on that, help me build the systems and processes to run my real estate business like him. And so it will take his top 100, how many, you can put 50. It'll pull the data of his top 50 YouTube videos. Gemini will distill it all down, tell you what each one's about, how he does it, get back to Claude, and then Claude will basically build you a system off from it. You could literally probably do that. It would take a little while, but within an hour, you could probably do that. It will pull all his videos, distill it down, and then write the SOPs, all with one code.
So where in your cybersecurity brain do you think maybe people are exposing themselves to risk, or which of these platforms are more risky and they should be careful, of putting too much stuff out there? I mean, we talked about the encryption on having your assistant, but where do you think that people need to be careful?
So that is my number one thing. I am literally giving it access to I use Chrome browser, so I give it access to my Chrome browser. I have a plug-in, and it'll literally take over my Chrome browser, and it's on my screen, and you have to maintain it, and you have to hit allow and all that stuff. But there's stuff that I'm sure it can do that if someone puts some malicious code in it, that it would. I would stick to the bigger named sources. There's Gronk, obviously we know who owns that, and ChatGPT, you know who owns that. But if you go to this little rinky dinky, like if you were using mine, what I created, I would be worried, I guess, because in the grand scheme of you know these big companies, what I created is a nothing burger. So it's making sure that things are done correctly. I I did build on security and stuff like that somewhat, but I was telling you before, I have the capability of sharing this with others.
Hmm.
But if I shared it with them, they would have my email, my all my bank. Uh, bank is protected behind Applaud because I'm just pulling it,
Hmm.
or Plaid. That's the wrong thing, but it's just pulling from there.
Hmm.
So, but they would see all my financial data and all that stuff. So, but yeah, it's all integrated there. So there is some security aspects. I'm not doing anything illegal, and other than how much money we make, like there's not much there. I don't have any malicious stuff on my laptop
Hmm.
running this. So I don't necessarily care. I don't have any of my employees' information saved on it. So there's no phone numbers or any, personal data there. So I would say you'd have to be careful of that if you HIPAA or anything like that you're giving it access to. I would be worried, but yeah,
Hmm.
I'm not like, what are they going to steal? Some
Hmm.
photos of my family, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's incredible what these things are capable of. And I know there's a lot of people that are worried about AI, but what I see is, like you said, this can do most of the things that you have an assistant for. And one argument is, well, that's taking away jobs because now you have to fire your assistant. And I would argue opposite. Now my assistant is freed up to do higher level tasks and I can be more efficient with their time, and I think that's true everywhere. We talked about the horse and buggy. When cars came out, it's like, well, now you have a lot of mechanic jobs and production and all that. Like it opens up more efficient jobs. That's how we grow.
100%. And for example, like I fired my assistant for my email and my calendar yesterday, and she made the joke about I'm losing my job or whatever. Like she was kind of joking about it. But now I have her focusing on what's next.
Mm.
Kind of what you're alluding to. We're building all these marketing flows and campaigns and all that stuff. And I feel like we're turning a plumbing company into a marketing company with the power of all this. But so it's freed her up to help work on some of that stuff. I still have her monitoring my email and my calendar right now, just from make sure that things are still flowing correctly because we're in the beta testing of this, if you will.
Hmm.
So she is still actively. I said, instead of doing it 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day, whatever she was doing, I said just checking out once or twice on my email to make sure nothing's getting missed. So yes, she is losing those tasks, those jobs, but now I have her focusing on something else.
Hmm.
And by training her up and having her focus on something else, now she can grow as a person, grow as a role, potentially get higher pay, all that stuff. So
Hmm. Well, so what's next? I mean, where do you see your dashboard going, and when are you going to be able to sell it to me?
uh so I mean right now it's set up for as a plumbing company, and it's set up as a single user. I did look into, first of all, I asked Chat or AI what they thought this would cost me. And just for 2 weeks that it took me to build it, it said if I'd have hired somebody, an external company, it would have cost me between $100 and $150,000, and it's not finished yet. At least not finished to where I want it to be.
Hmm.
Between $100 and $150,000, it'd have taken 3 people 4 to 6 months to do it. So I wouldn't even have had this. And so I do, and I want to caveat this. I'm able to read some code. Like I am somewhat proficient in Linux command line. I've done PowerShell commands before. Um, I
It's Chinese.
yeah. So command line didn't scare me,
Mhm.
uh, and that's what I have my system running on. I am I do want to make it that so I can talk to my assistant through the laptop, but I want to have it be able to talk back to me. So I'm going to put a voice on it from 11 Labs,
Hmm.
and that's just for fun, more than anything. Well, I mean, and I won't have to read everything,
Hmm.
but yeah, once I reach that, then because I'll just be able to talk to it, and then it'll respond back to me in whatever voice I choose. So Jarvis.
Right.
But yeah, that's next. Be able to do it from my phone using WhatsApp tie-in. That's next, and then filling in the security stuff that my assistant or my team members can message. So my service manager, hey, like, hey, what would Ryan think about this? Tell it. Or my marketing person, I don't know if I've talked about this, but I've I bought Alex Hormozy's AI. So I have access to Alex Hormozy's AI. So that's tied into it. So my marketing manager will be able to send it to there and use the mentor tie-in,
Hmm.
and it will actually go out to Alex Hormozy's AI and inquire from that. I got another guy that I have access to his AI, Jeremy Haynes. Anyhow, he's a marketing guy. I got like two or three, four external AIs that I've bought access to from high level people, mentors in the marketing space. So tying all that in, not it's tied in now that I can use it, but tying it in that an external person can use
Hmm.
within our team. So that's what's next. What's next for you?
I'm going to graduate from preschool and start learning how any of that works, because it's just blows my mind what it's capable of. And I think I'm pretty sufficient with ChatGPT, and I haven't even scratched the surface with Claude. So
It's funny. So my wife was like, how come you're doing this, but other people aren't?" And so I was kind of, because I not only did I ask it how much it would cost, but I said, how much is the software worth if I was to sell it to somebody else, another plumbing company, HVAC company, something like that. It said I could charge $4,000 to $6,000 a month recurring revenue, $60,000 roughly a year recurring revenue if I decided to sell that. So that's for one person. My wife was like, why don't other people do this? I was like, that's a great question. Why don't they? But, and I just told her, I said, I just don't think they know how, or they scared or something like that. But I'm the type of person, like, I'm just going to figure it out.
yeah, but I mean, I think to a certain point, the and especially as I kind of scale up in business, I find a lot of business owners at levels above me that they just pay because they don't want to take the time to learn these things. They want the impact and the result without having to put the time in for it.
So on that, I would say it is too easy to learn to not. I've been messing with this, like, we make a few $1 million a year, plumbing. This has been the best use of my time. Spending the $200 and spending the last 3 weeks doing this has been the best use. I know we talk who, not how, and all this stuff, but I think it's something I need to get it to a point that my team can utilize it and keep it running. But there was certain things doing that as the owner of the company, I was able to make the decision right there on the fly and say, hey, this is how I want it. And there was so much value in that.
Hmm.
So
So how, I mean, starting off, what do you think is the first way that people should implement that into their business? Is it the reporting? Is it just consultant having, the calendar and email, or what has been the most efficient use of it?
I would say start off with your biggest bottleneck. So do a bottleneck analysis. What are you struggling with the most? And build that first. That's where I would go. I
Hmm.
don't know. Where do you spend your most time? And say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Maybe I would argue a lot of people can't read a P&L.
Hmm.
A lot of business owners can't like truly read a P&L. So, hey, here's my P&L. Tell me where I'm falling behind.
Hmm.
I guarantee most business owners can't read a balance sheet. So,
I don't trust most balance sheets. I don't think they're accurate usually.
well, ours isn't accurate. Like
Hmm.
we have a problem with our balance sheet that we've been chasing for 2 months,
Hmm.
and it's actually with my assistant holding me up because it shows like a $50,000 difference, $70,000 difference in how much money we actually have and how much money we it shows.
Hmm.
And so I have to recalculate. But when I first started using this, it was flagging on that. Hey, you don't have any cash. Like you're negative $20,000. I'm like, no, I'm not. It's just a reporting issue. But because I don't have my bank, going back to the bank account things, I don't have my bank accounts tied into it.
Into QuickBooks?
My bank accounts are tied into QuickBooks, but they're not tied into my
Oh,
assistant.
got it.
So because QuickBooks is off, so QuickBooks has two different reportings. It has your balance sheet and P&L reporting, and then it's pulling data using Plaid for what's actually. And so when you look at QuickBooks, it shows two different numbers. It has what's in your bank account and what QuickBooks is reporting. Their API keys and all this information will only put what QuickBooks is reporting. They won't report what your bank account's reporting.
Mhm.
And so the only way to get that information is to tie my bank account to this assistant thing. And I won't do that. I don't want to, not that I have enough money for them to start funneling it off, but
Yeah.
going back to security standpoint, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I struggle with QuickBooks just understanding how it works. So, um, I think it'd be powerful just to have. So, I mean, do you still think it's necessary to have a bookkeeper, have an accountant, all that stuff? Like, are you primarily using it as a reporting and decision-making tool, or is it going to start taking over some of those tasks, like posting transactions, and like how in-depth can it get?
So when I was in Vegas, people were talking about having a bookkeeper, an AI bookkeeper, and I don't know that I trust it.
Hmm.
I I could see it AI helping the bookkeeper, but QuickBooks has the function, like it tells you they have an AI in there that's kind of categorizes stuff. I don't know how much you played with it,
Mhm.
but it's wrong
All the time.
all the time.
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
I don't trust it.
Hmm.
So to answer your question directly, no, I do not plan on my bookkeeper moving on, but my bookkeeper rocks too. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. So, but I want to hear more about you. What are you gonna do? I mean, you just heard me speak, and we've been 30 minutes on the podcast thus far. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me is strategy and having like an advisor. And so taking those people that I mean, we have all the books. I mean, to be able to take Gino Wickman and say, where am I um, losing out by not implementing traction into my business, and just having it kind of gather my thoughts and put them into frameworks. I think that's where it's going to be helpful. And blueprints. Blueprints probably the best example is, or best terminology I can use is, um, I can tell it. And I started doing this ChatGPT. I just wasn't happy with the result, but I wanted to go to my Claude and say, here are all my business goals for the next 12 months. Like, build my checkpoints up to today and tell me what I need to get done today. And then I'm going to start using it like a to-do list. Um, and I mean, I think that's the biggest impact that ChatGPT can have. And I mean, it can't replace professional coaching. We've had, my coach Mike Owen on before. I had a call with him this morning, and there's just life experience that he has. I mean, he was very high up in this in executive positions at big Fortune 500 or Fortune 50 companies. So he has experience with things that I hadn't even thought of before. So that is irreplaceable. Tomorrow, I have my Christian men's group, having 12 people that encourage me to connect with the word more and run my business according to God's will. That's irreplaceable. So I don't ever think that I'll like you said, ChatGPT my bank accounts. Like there's no need. And I'll or Claude, not ChatGPT. See, I'm doing the same thing. um and I don't think it will ever fully replace the need for people in business. There's so many roles that, I mean, that it won't be able to replace. But how can we make it more efficient? We're already doing it with Appfolio. I mean, Appfolio is just, they have been increasing their AI, and that's the property management software that we use. And so there's an acronym, I think it's ADE: automate, delegate, and eliminate. So anything that we can with the system, we're automating, and um, working on the delegate and eliminate part for other unnecessary things. But to be able to take everything that this system is doing, and it's operating, we have all the maintenance is delegated now. So they have a third party, or well, they're an Appfolio company that they process all of our work orders. We can build the workflows for which vendors we want dispatched for different tasks, plumbing, we want this person sent. If they're busy, send it to this person, then so on, for all these things. But to be able to pull that information on an owner's dashboard, that to me is exciting. So
Is that on everything you saw that I showed you? Is that what the owner's dashboard was
yeah,
the biggest thing?
yeah, that's the part that excites me the most, is to be able to see the metrics all in one place. That, I mean, unbeatable. I would pay a lot of money for that.
So I'm actually the opposite. I like so what's represented in the dashboard is just pulling from back engine, and there's key metrics that I said I want to see. And so obviously there's an overview board, and so that's just a quick owner snapshot of how things are going. But what I like the best is when something's red or something's going amber, being able to trigger off from that. Hey, I see this is declining.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of more what I'm getting at with the dashboard, is if I can see like I have one system, we use Elevate for our phone system. If Elevate, and I can pull it because I have admin dashboard, so but the users can't see what their metrics are. So every week I can pull a report that says what was our call answered percentage and all that stuff. But what does that mean to the employee? It means nothing. Okay, I didn't answer some phone calls, like big whoop. But if I can tie that into our leasing, our lead conversion rate, and show them you missed 20% of the calls and we got this many lost leads, like that directly ties into revenue. And so being able to tie everything together in one dashboard, I think is what will be. And then like we were talking about with active jobs, like you had how many active jobs and how many leads do I have this week? For me to be able to look at that and say, well, I'm a little low on leads, I'll just increase my ad spend. Like that, I think is phenomenal, because you can make that decision in 2 seconds.
Yeah, so what we created, it does. And that was our problem. So I didn't hit on this, but there's a software called Chirp, CHIRP. I might have talked about it before, but their tagline is speed to lead. So what they did was you missed a call, it triggered and sent a text message and tried to build them through text message, try to convert them. Basically, you're giving you CSRs enough time to get back to the lead. So I built that into it. I estimate follow up was another thing that Chirp does. I built that into it. We went out to another company that does marketing, and they're like, "Oh, we can do X, Y, and Z." I built that into it. Everyone that I was doing these demos on, I mean, just to be honest, they were all using Go High Level as their back engine. And so I'd ask them, I said, okay, well, this other company looks like and I was straight up with them. I said, it looks like they're using the same back end. I never called GHL out directly. I was like, but I know enough to tell that they're using the same back engine. I said, can I tie them all in together? And they're like, no. So I'd have had 5 different companies. And so it was like $4,000, $5,000 a month to do all this. And I had all these different, basically Go High Level dashboards. None of them would have been talking to one another. None of them would have. It'd have all been asynchronous data. It all been scattered to the winds, and I was able to bring all that in house and do it myself, and save myself $5,000 a month, and have it all in one dashboard that I can see what our marketing is doing, what our phone system's doing, and it is so much better. Like I gave our CSR all the data, so he sees exactly what I see. His call answer rate has gone up. His time to call back has gone down. And the guy's a workaholic, like, but it was just him being able to see it. Like he was already doing a great job, but now he's competing against metrics that I'm showing him day in and day out.
Yeah.
And so it's benefited the team. They know, like, I know we've preached who not how a million times. Go find a who, go find a, this was a how do I do it type situation. And I was able to build it out to meet my needs. And I guarantee you it would meet a million other people's needs based on, because a lot of times people build stuff based on a need and they're not the person that's needing it. I was the person needing it and went out and built it. So I think we'll see in 6 months or a year, where this takes us, but it looks good.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it, and I don't know. You have any closing thoughts on AI?
No, I feel like this is the podcast I've talked the most, and it's kind of been a solo podcast of me talking, so it's kind of unusual, but
I think you're light years ahead of me in this space, so I'll give you the floor for that.
yeah, I think if anybody goes back and watches all these podcasts and see with the different personalities and different, it's always interesting. Like we always talk about, like find what you're good at or something like that, and so yeah, I probably lit up a little more on this podcast than normal.
I wonder if we can ask Claude to pull, all of our podcast episodes and give the total talking time of each of us.
I probably
I'd be willing to bet it's probably a 60-40, maybe 70-30.
yeah, it would be interesting to see. It's problem is going through all the data, so it would have to go piece by piece, and the transcripts be a little hard. Actually, it would be easier for Gemini, going back to that.
Well,
But
Claude can tell Gemini.
I can ask Claude to tell Gemini to do it, and yeah, just pull all the podcast episodes and see who's talked more. So
Well, I'm gonna make it happen.
cool. Well, Tanner, I appreciate it, and on to the next one.